Welcome, my friends. This is Maniacal Incorporated, surveying the new political reality in Europe after France's failure to conquer the county of Bar. We joined them in that war, and we can be pretty happy with how we performed. We managed to steal some money. We stole a book. But we are quite distressed at the strategic ineptitude of France, what was looking to become one of our staunchest and most dependent allies. They failed to go for the war goal, which allowed the Holy Roman Empire plenty of time to call in its alliance with England and put together absolutely massive forces. And then in the midst of it all, the King of France, our daughter's future father-in-law, drank himself to death. The war is going to have a number of repercussions in Europe. Most notably, if we come to the Holy Roman Empire, we can see that Kaiser Heinrich V is dying, no doubt as a result of the tremendous stress that was posed on him because of the protracted nature of the war, and the finances of the Holy Roman Empire have been decimated. They will recover, and they'll recover fairly quickly. But I think the real victor in that campaign was England. It's come out of the war with its army intact, with its finances intact, and we're now looking at a scenario where, on the death of Adric, we're going to see the vassals elect a member of our mother's family. The Godwins are going to be restored, but look who it is. Is it Tuorfith or Tuorfrith? Somebody we have seen a lot of over this series. His father executed our grandfather. One of our uncles, one of our mother's brothers, carried out a liberty war against this man, in which two of our other uncles were killed, and that is what brought Tuorfrith to power. His mother has links to the Icelandic family, and no doubt that is why we are seeing a spate of Icelandic raids on Ireland of recent, as Tuorfrith prepares to take the throne of England. So we could be seeing a powerful anti-Irish bloc established on our border. Our family has caused this man and his family a lot of trouble, so no doubt he most certainly doesn't like us. So we're going to need to rearrange some alliances to defend ourselves against a resurgent Godwin dynasty in England. The first thing that we're going to do, and it should come as no surprise, is we are going to break that alliance with the Carling dynasty. And we're not going to go all that far to re-establish a new alliance. Right next door is the new King of Brittany. His father was the Duke of Brittany, conquered England, and was then forced basically to abdicate from both titles. When he did so, Brittany was elevated to a kingdom. So this family has already had involvement in English affairs. They have deposed the Godwins already, and would probably also be a bit worried about a resurgent Godwin dynasty. Now, it's not so much the dynasty, but the specific branch is what we're worried about. His father, the former King of England, is now the court jester in Adric's court. So we're going to arrange a marriage between our daughter Ulladh and the King of Brittany. It's just barely going to be accepted. We do have a lot of alliances, so we will send that. And if we take a look at our court, one of the most valuable courtiers that we have, and we don't often think about her in this way, is our wife, the Queen of Connaught. So no doubt when she is here in our court, she might also hold her own court here. to impress those who have come to pay her a visit, or maybe even if she has found somebody of interest that she thinks it would be of benefit for us to meet. And no doubt, our wife tells us about one of the guests who have visited her of recent, Peggy Dunkeld. Peggy is the daughter of Prince Magnus of Scotland. We've seen him in the past. He was fighting against Lothian, who we had a number of alliances with. This makes her the granddaughter of Duncan II of Scotland. And if we look, we'll say at Prince Magnus, he is the brother of Prince Stephen, formerly King Stephen of Scotland. Stephen wrote a fantastic poem about us, The Acts of Ireland. He has indeed the poet trait. We might actually try and get him to join our court and become a poet at some stage. Is Murica there? Oh, he is. I hope he didn't hear. Murica, you're doing a great job. You keep writing. Doing a great job, Murica. So Prince Stephen, formerly King Stephen, abdicated in favour of his daughter, Flora. Flora is a bit of a devil, pants on fire, and she is ill at the moment. She has 2 children, but should she die, neither of them will inherit. Instead, it will go to her younger brother, because neither of her children are legitimate. We don't know who Prince Hugh's father is, but this child was fathered by Dálach Macgillacomón Maconsagart. Try saying that 3 times quickly. The interesting thing is his surname, Maconsagart. So it would be anglicised as MacTaggart, or sometimes MacIntaggart. And Sagart means priest. So, son of the priest. And it's one of a number of kind of religious surnames that you would have in Ireland and Scotland, medieval Ireland and Scotland. Another would be Machanaspig, son of the bishop, anglicised as Machanaspy. And it just again testifies to some of the more unusual aspects of how Christianity was practiced in Ireland. Brehon law states that if a priest has a child, the priest can either be laicized and take part in raising the child, or the child will be raised by its mother's family, and the priest will undergo penance. So, interesting to see one of those names pop up in the game. I think I found the source of all of the first names. It's in the Maniac Link Discord. You can find a link below in the description. You can call on over. It's on the CK3 forum that we have there, or the CK3 channel. So, medievalscotland.org, that's where I'm certain all of these names are coming from. And I found the actual page that would have been scraped to get the first names. But anyway, I digress. What we want to look at is Flora. Let's take a look at her court. Under such a depraved ruler, Scotland basically has gone into utter decline. Court grandeur is collapsing. We've seen Amlíb become a figure of righteous vengeance. He had his spymaster ferret out sinners, evildoers in the French court and punish them by taking their money. I think that's probably another reason why we've broken our alliance with France, is the things that we discovered in that court. They give out about us and our polygamy. Cannibalism. There were cannibals in that court. No doubt we're looking across at Scotland, and we are seeing an individual who is a threat to herself, to the stability of Scotland, but also to the stability of Ireland. We need strong allies, which we don't have at the moment, if we are to protect ourselves from England. And to do this, what we are going to do is propose a marriage between our brother, Dianartuch, and Peggy. We will rebuild the war chest, and we will soon go to war to install a puppet government in Scotland. And to aid with that war and some of the wars that will follow, I didn't expect I'd be going for this, but we will go for war profiteer, monthly income while at war, plus 10%. So we had a stewardship perk at the end of the last episode. And once we've that done, we will continue down the architect tree. In the last episode, we established an alliance with the Duchy of Aquitaine. We are actually very close to organising a marriage between our daughter, Tuathla, and the heir to the Kingdom of Aquitaine. So what I'm going to do is, I think we're going to try and sway this man. Not looking great, but we might actually be in a position to convince him that an alliance between the Irish throne and Aquitaine is in his interests. And sure, look, you're just within spitting distance of Croatia then. You can wave over to the, whatever they are, cousins of ours. We're receiving a number of pop-ups all at once. We were just told that our wife has become pregnant. I had come over into the decisions to invite some knights, which I think I'm going to do anyway. We can also pet the cat. We will lose some stress, but then we won't be able to pet the cat for 5 years. We will pet the cat. Some people say cats are evil and selfish. You say that like it's a bad thing. I didn't realise this would actually set up a lengthy chain. I find Pangur Dove outside strutting around the yard. That sounds like Pangur Dove. As soon as she spots me, she meows and saunters over, rubbing up against my leg. I spend many minutes crouched by her side, petting her and scratching her under the chin. And when I stand back up again, she claws at my legs. Thank you, my friend. 11 stress, not too bad. Orthacoin, the poor man, has come to pay us homage. Show him in at once. Orthacoin kneels in deference. He takes the oath. It's been a very lengthy wait for Orthacoin to take the oath of allegiance to the Irish throne. Of course, he has had tremendous problems in his own kingdom. He lost control of Dublin to the Countess of Ossory. I did notice this just very recently. His wife, Olwen. So if we see who she is the sister of the heir to the Duchy of de Hybert. And that is, of course, currently held by Cain. So Orthacoin has made himself Cain's son-in-law. What does Cain's forces look like? I remember we were worried about you once. I was thinking that if Cain's armies were strong enough, now would be a good time to give Orthacoin the counties needed to become Duke of both Leinster and Meath, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. We will take your money, we'll gain some court grandeur, and we will thank you very much. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, we have had a massive expansion of the number of knights. I thought we only had 9. We're up to 13. There's Laura, causing a bit of trouble. We were told, I think it was the last episode, that he might be plotting against us by Flora. However, our mother told us that Flora could not be trusted. There's Cuanon, Cosina. And then we're getting down into questionable numbers. Gillicullum, Cain. There's Murica, our court poet. Orthacoin himself down at the bottom. We're down to pretty bad numbers. So here is somebody that has just offered to join. He is a member of the Cruhur Rua. So we saw the Cruhur Don, which would be the brown Cruhurs, now the red Cruhurs. So we will recruit him to court. It is May 1139, and we receive news of a number of different things. First of all, our brother, who has also become a knight, he's worse than most of them. He is now eligible to marry Peggy Dunkeld. We will send that proposal, and it is accepted. And while we are trying to rebuild the war chest, I think now might be a good time to get rid of some stress. We're up to 6.1 gold per month. That is partially because I have put I will never click on this tab first correctly when I want to. I'm always going to go to courtiers first of all. We have our steward on collect taxes, which I was saying might be bugged in the last episode. Even if it is, it's bringing us in a good chunk of gold, and we have the tax man benefit as well. So, as much as it breaks my heart, what we might do, because we haven't done it in a very long time, we're only going to lose 11 stress. However, for a feast, we will lose 50 stress because we are brave. So we're going to call a hunt. I might see about hiring some servants first of all to help with drumming out wildlife. We're inside the top 10 courts in the world. And I think it would make sense for us to make a number of changes. We will increase to some servants. We're definitely going to have to increase the food. Let's go for decent food. I suppose we'd better go for decent fashion as well. We'll just have a decent court. So we have a decent court with spacious lodgings. That's going to bring us up from 1.1 to 1.9. It's not too bad. It might be difficult to maintain that level of grandeur, but we are now in a much better position to call a more successful hunt. Sound the horn! Hunt wildflowers. Of course, this is probably our first visit to the royal grounds that we built in Downpatrick. I forget what we built. Did we build like a royal forest or something? This hunting trip has been less than fruitful so far. Oh dear. Some of our party appear to have given up completely or are attempting at making the best of a lovely day outside. But what on earth is my vassal Cain doing? He is crouched down on the ground, humming cheerfully. My lord, look! There are many useful herbs and flowers here. This one can soothe aches, while this one aids in the recovery of a broken humerus, and this one is said to ward off smallpox, is it? Yeah, now you tell me. He keeps blabbling on about the plants he collected instead of being on the lookout for prey. Get back on your horse, Cain. So we'll gain some prestige and lose opinion with him. Fascinating. What about that flower? So we will spend some prestige and gain 50 learning lifestyle experience. Or we could ask him, are you a witch? Gain some piety. We would have been afraid of this man once upon a time. Not afraid of him, but worried about what he might do. At this point in time, he has basically grown old and weak. We're going to accuse him of witchcraft and gain some piety, which we can use to ask the Pope for money. We're seeing a bit of havoc breaking out. There's some bit of maybe an independence faction within Munster. The hunt is drawing to an end. We mount our horses to leave the plains behind as the light fades from the sky. To heed the call of the wild is usually an adventure, and this outing truly delivered both the good and the bad in overabundance. We gain 150 prestige. Not too shabby. Probably does give us the ability to install Tanistry, but at this point in time, I'm wondering, is there a need? And of course, when I said earlier on that our wife had become pregnant, I meant our secondary wife, Anla. the daughter of the Mayor of Carrickfergus, our stepsister. And she has given us a daughter, Creanach, I believe. Sure. May you grow to be strong and wise, my daughter. If ever the kingdom is in need of a new chancellor, possibly, Pangur Dubh is a candidate. As I walk outside, I am greeted by the sight of my wife, High Queen Fiatach, crouching beside my cat that she found, Pangur Dubh, tenderly petting her head. This is quite the lovely cat you have, my lord. I wonder she's saying that as in, oh wow, this is a great cat. Wherever did you get it from? Yes, I know. Thank you. You got me a cat. You're very perceptive. At this point in time, we have so many hooks on so many people that I don't fully remember where they're all coming from. Here is somebody in the French court. We've just gotten a pop-up that they will give us money. So we're going to demand a payment. Absolutely. We had removed our spymaster from France because we were worried that possibly, I think it was Laura, might have been plotting against us. We haven't seen anything on that plot since. We're seeing a bit of anarchy in Scotland. Some regions seem to have split off again. This absolutely depraved rule. So we're going to send. I told you I'm never going to press this button correctly the first time. We're going to send our spymaster to Scotland to see if we can get Scotland to finance its own invasion. And the other thing is that we have a dynasty legacy. So to date, we have been progressing down the glory chain. The next one is personal scheme power and monthly diplomacy lifestyle experience. I don't think we're going to have a diplomat for a while, even though it was something I was thinking of switching over to. Another option that I was thinking about was going for noble veins, chance of inheriting good congenital traits, plus 30. Or law, popular opinion, plus 5. Hunt and feast cost, minus 30. So this would be more in line with the type of ruler that we have at the moment. But I don't think we're going to be having a stewardship focused ruler for a while. Then again, we keep switching over to stewardship focus. So it's going to be either, I think we'll go for mostly fair. Popular opinion plus 5. Hunt and feast costs minus 30. So that will at least allow us to possibly hold more of them in future. We haven't even gotten a chance to use our alliance with Brittany, and it's already in danger. Our future, oh god, is he a son-in-law or future son-in-law, is ill. We should send Brichinna out to him. Speaking of which, Brichinna is raising our son Crahur. And this is an interesting one. Our father-in-law, no, he's our stepfather, Mayor Osuch, has died. One of the great knights of the kingdom. We can see that what's going on in Munster is that Ormond is rebelling against the tyranny of Lochinna the Impaler. I was trying to see why he got the name Impaler, and I wish I didn't. What I was saying there a couple of minutes ago was that our son Crahur, our son and heir, is being raised by Brichinna, our court physician. This is the second heir to the Kingdom of Ireland to be raised by the court physician. The previous, of course, was Seachnasach, who was raised by Finlay. So hopefully this heir turns out a bit better, and we have recruited our mother back to court. She was the concubine of the mayor of Carrickfergus, Osuch. Like I said, one of the great warriors of the kingdom. And his loss will be felt. But we have recruited some new knights, so they will be of use to us, should we go to war with Scotland, and we had want to start thinking about that pretty shortly. In preparation for our war, we have emptied out the coffers, hiring 3 new knights. The other 2, I have married them off to daughters of Leinchuk to try to keep that robust trait going that they would have gotten from their mother. Here is Skloige, or Skolja, Cruhur Rua, who we would have seen a while ago. And this isn't a trait that I've seen before. Agnes has the trait Pure-Blooded, fertility plus 10% health, small boost, inbreeding chance minus 50%. Agnes is of a pure bloodline. Let's see if we can get this trait at least in the court. And who knows what might happen in future generations. The stories, the things that our poor spymaster must have heard of in his life. He's heard of cannibalism. He's heard stories of a number of different things, but I've never seen, even with his face half covered, I've never seen such a look of disgust on his face. And look who it is that he has discovered something about. Gospatrick of Lothian. I believe somebody is married to one of his sons. Here is Gospatrick's son, Gospatrick. He is our brother-in-law. And Gospatrick, Duke Gospatrick II, 77, of course, like I said, he fought a war against Magnus, the father of Peggy, who we are looking to put on the throne of Scotland at some stage. Gospatrick is now married to, or is betrothed to, a 14-year-old from the same house as currently rules Brittany. We do have an alliance with him. We have been dependent on these forces for some time. I think we are going to, again, to bring order and stability to this region. We absolutely will. At the very least, seek to blackmail him. It's only a 60% chance. And he has allowed himself to be blackmailed, just in case anybody was wondering. Alach and Oriel are at war again. And there's poor Magnus, the former husband. They seem to have gotten divorced, or the marriage has ended between himself. His wife was the Duchess of Man. He launched an invasion on Dublin at one stage. I might see about bringing this war to an end. So we're actually going to allow it to continue, because it is Broin, and he is defending, and he is currently defending very successfully against Liaura's claim, or Liaura's attempt to conquer Oriel. So he has defeated Liaura's army not found, and he's going to siege down Alach and take the spoils. He's welcome to it. And we're getting lots of people in our court gaining the scholarly courtier trait, learning +1, because of their presence in the court. We will take our 50 quid, and we will pray that if God is good and just, Gospatrick will die sometime in the next 2 years before this poor child comes of age. Our brother Gillicullum and our sister-in-law, who I believe is our court musician, and, if I am correct, the daughter of the Duke of Aquitaine, they have had a child, Dovkovlig. May you grow to be strong and wise. As we walk about the market stalls of Downpatrick, trying to find Pangur Dove, who has been stealing fish, Leinchuk gives us an opportunity to make some money. We could invest 60 quid and get a definite building cost reduction, building time reduction, and holding taxes +20, or we could invest in a jeweler shop for a 75% chance that we would get increased monthly prestige and holding tax. I think I'm going to go for the jeweler shop. We could also just take the flat 30. We know that Scotland is a den of sin and debauchery, I am certain that we will be able to find more secrets, things that we would rather not know. So we're going to take this risk. We will invest in a jeweler shop, and we lose all the money. I was just about to say that after a lengthy period of wars, that things have started to settle down in Wales. No, they haven't. Anarchy has broken out here again. We've discovered that Dálach, Machán Sagart, has a lover. I wonder who it could be. No doubt you are just as shocked as I am to discover that Dálach's secret lover is none other than Queen Flora. Who would have guessed? I didn't. We could blackmail Flora, gain a strong hook, and then demand money. The only problem is she has no money. Minus 294, she has bankrupted Scotland. She is losing 5 gold per month. There's another war to seize an earldom from her. And of course our other option then is to blackmail Dálach, but presumably he has no money. Oh wait, no, he has all the money. This is probably what has outraged Amlíb more so than anything he has seen so far. Of all of Flora's actions, the fact that she has diverted the entire finances of Scotland into the possession of this man for his services to the Queen. I don't understand how he could possibly have ended up with this much money, unless it came from... Again, how would a mayor have this much money? We will blackmail him. There's a good chance that he won't accept, which would probably outrage Amlíb even more. We're going to urge him to convince Flora to step down, to end this debauched reign, the disgrace that she has brought to the Gaelic world. Wisely, Dálach has accepted. We will demand a payment of 50 gold from him. And we are seeing that England has won in a war against the tyranny of the king. So there are attempts in England to depose Adric. They have not succeeded. His forces are now up to 5,000, just over 5,000. Another worrying development that we have recently seen is that his heir to the Kingdom of England is also not alone distantly related to the Icelandic forces, but is actually the son of the heir to Iceland. So his mother, her elder brother, has died. Her brother, who has succeeded as the Jarl of Iceland, he has not had any children. So it looks like Iceland is going to basically come into a union with the English forces at some point in time, and that is the absolute worst outcome that we could imagine, although we would have been hoping to put together more of a war chest, surely with our mother urging us to rapid action. We are going to declare war to install that puppet regime that we have been promising in Scotland. It's going to be a hefty prestige cost, but we need to stop the descent that Scotland has fallen into. We receive 2 updates, one after the other. Brittany will enter the war on our side to remove Flora from the Scottish throne, and indeed, any alliance that he would have been looking to build with Gospatrick has fallen apart. Gospatrick has died, drank himself to death. Surely, the dressing down that he would have been given by our spy master, when he made demands to hand over money to keep the foul secret that he had, drove him to drink. And Broin has asked that our daughter Ovluk visit him in his court in Dundelgan. We would have been thinking once upon a time of marrying these two together when the succession was not secure, so we will say, of course, she will be there. I've split the forces in two. We're going to try and hit 2 regions. I was hoping that it might result in us not getting attrition casualties, but unfortunately not. Keep up the good work. Pangerbone, you're doing a great job. In all the excitement, the High Queen has become pregnant. Our forces have marched across the narrow path into Scotland for one of the first times in a very long time. We're discovering more secrets in Scotland, which are going to be of use to us. Our daughter has returned alive and well and not drowned. What happened very quickly there was we got a pop-up that King Louis had been swayed and that our cousin had been imprisoned. And I actually thought that we were being told that King Louis had been imprisoned, and I was very confused. And with that swaying of King Louis, we are in a position to arrange a marriage between our daughter and, hopefully, the future King Louis IV. We see our allies from Brittany arriving in 2 separate armies. That's actually very helpful, unless they're now going to merge. We can gain a new lifestyle perk, just in case anything goes very badly wrong. Fort levels go up 1, garrison size goes up 20%. That will, of course, be very helpful in defending against any Icelandic invasions. And then we're looking at levy reinforcement rate, plus 100%. Popular figurehead will be useful. Divided attention won't be much good. And then architect, which will give us further construction time and construction cost benefits. So we'll be looking to try and get down this route as quickly as possible. I think we're finished over here pretty much. Yeah, we won't be selling titles. We won't be keeping our stress high or our dread high. I don't want to extort the subjects, so I'd say we're pretty much finished over here. And now, finally, with its last victory, Wales is at peace. We are seeing the forces of the Isle of Man, which are loyal to the Scottish Crown, previously attempted to put her husband on the throne of Dublin. She is after deploying her forces and is coming up in some direction. I thought she might actually be going to try and land in Ireland. We've had communications with King Louis of Aquitaine, and he wants to focus on his ambition and interests more. I could make sure that our coming letters contain more on a topic close to his heart. So I'm going to keep this attempt to keep him on side. I'm going to keep that going for a bit longer. And I think it is very clear that this is a man who would like to focus on diplomatic matters. In the midst of a war, a man comes to us offering to make statues. It's bad timing, but if we don't accept, because we are zealous, presumably these are religious statues, considering the things that we have discovered, the things that we have had to think about, the letters that our spy master has been sending us, telling us the things that he has found out. Presumably, we feel that we need some holy relics, or some holy statues in the court. It's 34 gold, it's not the worst. Even though we have the army at full capacity, we're only losing 2.2 gold a month. That's because of the war profiteer and a number of other different benefits that we have picked up. Our wife, we get an unexpected visit from our wife. With longing in my heart and my loins, I slowly pushed the door open. She's seated at her desk, so it's not an unexpected visit from her. We are unexpectedly visiting her. I think we will respect her privacy. I don't think she's plotting against us. Maybe it's a party. And already, fair play to her, Peggy has gotten to work. With the invasion to place her on the throne of Scotland underway, she has given birth to a daughter, who she has decided to name Bridget. And as things stand at the moment, Bridget is in line to become Queen of Scotland, the first Dál Fiatach, Queen of Scotland, and entirely possibly the individual who will get to control the dynasty legacies, possibly head of the family. We might be creating a very powerful branch of the Dál Fiatach in doing this. I think we'll still remain in control of the Irish culture. Louis is delighted to speak diplomacy. We're not going to get to do any wars. Man has gone around the northern coast of Scotland, most likely to try to join up with a heavily depleted Scottish forces. Maybe they're actually not even involved in this war. And indeed, our wife wasn't plotting against us. It's a feast in our honour. That's lovely. So while the men are dying, surely we're going to have some people coming to our court giving out to us and calling us a monster. We are commissioning statues and having feasts organised by our wife. Ernmaga, I respect the work that you're doing. I really do. And I know, absolutely, I said at the start of this episode that we didn't know who Hugh's father was. Look, good job, well done. So, he has cemented pretty much what we all believed, that Dálach, Mac Gwilach Homón Mac an Sagart, is the father of Prince Hugh of Scotland. I don't think we're going to be able to get any more money out of that couple. We've seized Carrick. We have begun marching our forces into Ayrshire. I think Man is bringing its forces down. It was indeed. We're going to move our forces closer, so that if Man... That's actually the main Scottish army, actually. If they do decide to come for us, we will be able to respond quickly. We're basically going on a slow march towards the capital. The peasants of Ulster, under our glorious rule, have had a good year. They're offering us 40 quid, or, for 10 years, county redevelopment. So, dev growth plus 10, popular opinion plus 10. I would like that dev growth, but you know what? We will take the dev growth. I think we should be in a position to generate more money if it's ever needed. Lennox is not actually involved in the war, so we can't siege that area down. Finiacht has given birth to a daughter who she wants to name after herself. Do you know what? We'll allow it. Finiacht Og, may you grow to be strong and wise. Having just given birth to our daughter, our wife sends us a poem. Your sizable ears are like stars in the sky. I really want to be by your side, that I may know the depths of your love. You should do everything I want all the time. It doesn't sound great. It sounds just as bad in Irish. We're going to lose some opinion with her. There seems to be more upheaval in England that we're not actually in a position to look at the moment. Scotland is bringing its forces in a roundabout path. I'm leaving the main army here to the north, just waiting for this conquest here to finish. I think Scotland is actually dealing with another war. They seem to be in a great deal of trouble. Brittany is going in against the main Scottish army. And of course, our Archbishop has died. Setna, we never had any trouble from him really. He was a good guy. And Wenzel. There's an Irish name if I've ever heard of one. We have a Saxon Archbishop of Ireland. Not sure how I feel about that. Féilche. The CHAD part would have been pronounced Cud in Old Irish. So names like Murchud and Donachud in Munster, but are today pronounced Murcha. So this would be Féilchud. Comes back with the product of his labour. You inspect the statue from head to toe. It's the Virgin Mary. Sure, I'd know her anywhere. Her hands are joined in prayer and her eyes closed. The sculpting is sharp, with a complex veil covering Mary's head and falling over her shoulders. This is how everyone should see her when listening to the liturgy. The statue menaces with spikes of some random stone that I can't think of off the top of my head at the moment. I want you at my court so you can promote my name. We gain 150 and we become the owner of Mary Effigy. So the little icon next to it, I think, means that it is from the Community Flavor Pack. So we'll deal with that statue in a second. The Scottish forces have come into the south to some of the lands being sieged down by Brittany. We still have our army here in Ayrshire, which is being commanded by one of our new knights, the only person who has the military engineer trait. So he was actually commanding the army with the mangonels. I'm going to bring our first army down, commanded by Cosina. I'm going to merge the two of them, and we're going to prevent that siege, or prevent the Scottish from lifting the or retaking this region. Of course, the Scottish are doing a run around in what absolutely terrible news. Pope Leo X has died. A devoted friend to the Catholics of Ireland. The money that he gave financed the establishment of the High Kingship itself, and the massive construction projects that we have seen in Downpatrick. So that is going to be a terrible day. A faithful servant of the Lord has gone to God. So we'll probably unveil the Mary Effigy statue in his honour. And we receive news about one devout servant of God, and then we receive news of this devil and his love affair with a random courtier. So I've sent my spy master to the English court, because that's where I think all the interesting stuff is happening. We're trying to catch the main Scottish army, so we might deal with that first of all. Brittany is going back on to the Isle of Man. It's going to be a hefty enough defeat for the Scottish forces. The numbers flooding into the battle were so large that nobody was really able to distinguish themselves. There is our brother-in-law. There is Filbert. Leinchuk, shoving up in years, and of course he's lost his leg. Any of the new knights, there's Laura. Behave. Just under Leinchuk, actually, are our 3 new knights. There is our siege commander. So what we're going to do is pretty much just march on the capital, and I think bring this war to an end. Our dungeons aren't exactly the most interesting place. We have no great figures down here in terms of... Here's an interesting martial figure. Nobody that we can ransom back. I'm going to negotiate the release of this guy to get him into the army. Prowess isn't the worst. I think we'll just let Hector go. We might leave him there actually until the end of the war. And this guy, I'll probably recruit him actually for the... for those martial numbers. There are a number of wars that Scotland finds itself involved in. And these guys were actually sieging down, not making huge progress on sieging down the capital. I have to make sure that our one and only siege engineer is in place. I've complained a bit in this series about how Tanistry is absent. We saw a patch in the middle of it which kind of messed up some of the clothing. There's a couple of things I've complained about. But this is the first thing that has made me want to quit this series. Amlib, this cat has to go. You found the cat. You said it was a great cat. Now you want me to get rid of it. I'll get rid of you. Cat sensitivity is going to give our wife a moderate health penalty. I think we would give... It would make more sense probably to give it to Fogartuck. We're going to give the cat to our mother. What's very interesting actually is the medium health boost from the rat catching. So We're going to go to our mother. We're going to explain that the wife is given out. She doesn't want us to keep the cat. Poor Pangur Dove. And we will ask Gunhilda to take care of her. I don't think I can ever look my wife in the face again. We continue to siege down the Scottish capital. However, it is the siege of Annandale by the forces of Brittany that have managed to bring this war to an end. Our spymaster has discovered more acts of deviancy in the English court. They are so depraved and disgusting that we demand for our servant to fetch us a bucket before we retch. We could continue the siege, we could cause tremendous trouble in this region, but what we are instead going to do, we will end the Irish War for Peggy Dunkell's claims on the Kingdom of Scotland. We will enforce our demands, and we will hopefully see, within a generation, the rise of a Dál Fiatach ruler of Scotland. Our glory is widely known. Due to the way it all works, however, we've had to stand down our army and re-enter the war on behalf of the Scottish monarchy, our new allies in Scotland, because of course this region is under siege. There is an attempt, I actually don't know what the hell there's an attempt to do. I think there's an attempt to seize a county. So we're going to try and defeat the army of the Northern Isles. Peggy, rather foolishly, raised what few forces she had. Our sister-in-law has given us another nephew, a niece. And we're seeing a multitude of forces coming in. If Scotland could just hold on, if our new alliance in Scotland could just hold on. It's a good thing we didn't give Fogartuck that cat, because Fogartuck has been captured in Thomond. Our poor wife, now that the cat is gone, is trying to make up for it and has given us a daughter. No, I was gonna say, will we call the daughter Pangur Dove? No, we won't. Dunla. And we're still trying to march into the capital to aid Scotland. We're at a -72 war score. They're going to start rummaging around in a strange direction now. We're in a weird direction. We've just missed them. And in the middle of Scotland, one county to the west of where we were when we ended the last war, but we had to stand down our forces to reapply. The mayor of Longford comes to us. He's always been a constant scourge upon my life. It does not matter whether it's to sabotage my rule or to try and steal my wife from me when we went romancing my wife to guarantee a son. This is the man who... What the hell was he doing? Yeah, he was trying to romance her. She's made him her steward. So we've gained some stress because we hate him. So there is actually the knight that we recruited from the last battle against Scotland. He's after doing a great job, and the war has ended because Donald has died. How exactly did Donald die? He was slain in battle by Leinseach O'Rourke. Our personal champion, Leinseach, has saved the Kingdom of Scotland by killing in combat the claimant that the Northern Isles were trying to push. Leinseach will undoubtedly go down in history as one of the great knights of the kingdom. And what a battle that was. Count Eric of Lolland Falster, 70 kills. He's wounded We captured him in the aftermath of the battle, and we have ransomed him out. Gudmundur captured him as well. Ransomed him out for just a week hook. And then we have Duke Donald of the Isles, whose death brought not alone the battle, but the entire war itself to an end. And then, as for our own knights, here's our brother-in-law, doing mighty work, Leinchuk. Again, the champion of Scotland. Laura is still actually putting in good numbers. So, a massive number of troops. And here, down at the bottom, you're nothing like your father. Cailte, the new mayor of Carrickfergus, our brother-in-law. There is his sister, our secondary wife. Gillicomon is there. Mock Cronon. I was trying to figure out who this was for a second. It's our brother. Of course, Dinarthuk has left the services of the army. And I presume, look at him, oh boys, with his big fancy clothing on him. And here we can visit him in his new court, or in his wife's new court. Already, it looks brighter. It looks like a more interesting place. The grandeur is still falling. We can see a bit of shock on her face, but they're making money. At least they're not in the massive deficit that they were before. Scotland is now some way stable, thanks to Ireland. And of course, you'd better remember who put you there, and who can remove you if you don't answer alliance calls. And with Scotland now secure, we can return to the Royal Court of Ireland. Here's an event that would have been just an event that would have popped up, but now it is actually a Royal Court event. We're being given an opportunity to build some spying apparatuses in our court. I think what we'll go with is, I am a simple man, we're going to lose 70 gold, and we will gain 10 court grandeur, which is the main thing, and we will also gain enemy hostile scheme success chances go down 15%. And while we are all delighted to inaugurate the reign of His Holiness Pope Ioannis XX, we remember fondly our good friend and our father's good friend, Pope Leo X, and in his honour, and in honour of our victory in Scotland, we will place in our royal court Mary effigy, a piety plus 0.5 per month. That is going to be very helpful. Domain taxes of the same faith go up plus 1%. This is very helpful. So there it is, looking across at the Bane of Iceland. The court has changed a bit. We've wallpapered the whole thing, so it's back to being the kind of the default court, as opposed to the court from the community flavor pack. But like I said, there was a patch there recently. I think it's the reason why our wife is in her pajamas, and has been in her pajamas for the whole thing. We've done tremendous work in this episode. We've reorganized our alliances. We've stabilized Scotland. It doesn't look like it, but I insist, we have stabilized Scotland. We have removed the evil and debauchery that was dragging the court into disrepute, and we have put in place a puppet regime that I hope will be loyal to Ireland. Amlib took the lifestyle trait that will give him increased taxes during warfare, and we're going to be making use of that as we go forward. We have not forgotten our father's dreams of creating the Kingdom of Wales, and we still have the fears of the English Holy Roman Empire alliance and the possible merger of England and Iceland, our greatest enemies. There is going to be some very interesting years ahead of Amlib. Thank you for joining me on this episode, and I hope you'll join me on the next one, when we find more courts to put members of the Dál Fiatach in charge of.